Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I have 7 St. Patrick's Day Cricut projects to hopefully give you some inspiration. I had so much fun creating these and I can't wait for you to see them. The vinyl I'm showing here came in a bundle from 143vinyl.com and I'm using the majority of these in this video. It comes with really pretty adhesive and heat transfer vinyl. The first sheets here are adhesive vinyl. This one is a pattern HTV and it comes with the mask that you need to use with it. And here is some more HTV. The one on the way left, that metallic one, is actually adhesive vinyl. Look how gorgeous these HTV vinyls are also. I will have this linked in my description box. For my first project, I'll be adding that holographic green color to these Shamrock dresses. I picked up 2 for both of my daughters, and I just thought these were so pretty. This is very random, but my grandma loved dresses, and she loved the color green, so these just remind me of her. I'll show you how I put my design together in Cricut Design Space. First, I'm going to go over to my images. I want to find a clover. I searched for this earlier. I'm going to grab this one and add it to my canvas. I'm going to rotate this a little bit so it's kind of straight on. I'm actually going to be adding both of my daughters' names into the clovers, so I am just going to delete all the wording in here. I'm going to duplicate this, and someone commented on one of my videos, I always do Command C to copy and then Command V to paste, and she said, why don't you just hit Command D to duplicate? And I don't know why I have not been doing that, so that's a lot easier. Now I'm going to grab a font. My font is Yesy, and I'm just going to type in both of my daughters' names. This font is just really pretty. I use it for a lot of projects. I'm just going to kind of line this up. Now I'm going to slice these out of here. I do have a question. Who has been using the combine tools like the unite, subtract, intersect, exclude? I honestly haven't used it like at all. So I'm sure people that are a little bit better at designing might use it, but I've still only really used the slice or the weld button. But I'm going to come down here and select slice. It looks like nothing happened, but you can see in the layers panel it says slice result. All you have to do is just move this out of here. And I am going to delete these, and I'll do the same thing for Emmy's. I'm going to just select slice. And then I can just also click on it and delete it. For my sizing, I'm going to do it different than how I normally do it. Pretty much every time I go off of the width for sizing on shirts or dresses. But these dresses have that seam, so it has a smaller area. So what I did was just measured where I wanted the height to be. For Quinn, I decided on 5 inches for the height, and for Emmy, I did 3.25. I'm going to mirror my designs, then I'll hit continue. I'm using holographic HTV, so I'm going to search for holographic iron-on. I might just favorite that also, and I'll just select on that. Here's the holographic HTV I'm using. I believe it's Caesar brand. 143 Vinyl has it all listed, but I turn it upside down so the pretty side is facing the mat, and then the Cricut will cut it out. Once that's done, I remove my vinyl from the mat. As you can see, I cut out a little piece because I wanted to save as much as possible. I hate wasting vinyl, and here I am just weeding it out. I'm using my Easy Press Mini for this. The dresses are cotton poly blend, so I set it to my medium setting. I fold my first dress in half and I preheat it, and I also press against the edge of the dress to find the center. Once I'm done with that, I just lay the dress out flat. Because the design is kind of busy, you can't really see that line, but it is there. I'm using my t-shirt guide to help me find the center. Then I bend my design in half so that I can have a crease at the top, and that helps me figure out exactly where my center is. The carrier sheet on this is not very sticky, so I added some heat resistant tape on top of it, and then I start running my Easy Press Mini over the clover, and I do this for 25 seconds and I move it constantly. I also don't use a Teflon sheet on top because I'm going directly over that carrier sheet. I removed this from the mat because it's a cool peel and you really have to wait until it's totally cool. So then I grab my other dress, and I just think my 1-year-old's dress is so cute because it's super tiny compared to my older daughter's, but I follow the same process for this dress. I forgot to mention, I did just kind of eyeball this one. I didn't use the t-shirt guide or measure the center, but I felt like for her dress, it's so small, it just seemed like it'd be easy just to eyeball it. Once those are cooled down, I remove the carrier sheets. Also on the website, it says to wait 24 hours before washing these. Here's how these turned out. I think they are just absolutely beautiful. There is a lot going on with the pattern and the glitter and everything, but I think it is just perfect for my girls, and I love how they turned out. For my next project, I found this boot. They call it boot drinkware, so you can put drinks in it. And I just think this is so cool. I found it at Target for $5. If you're having a St. Patrick's Day party, it would be really fun. I also found these mini boots. They look like they could be little shot glasses, and these were also $5. I thought these were so perfect to personalize. I will show you how I put this together in Design Space. I'm going to grab the SVG I'm using for this. I thought this one was super funny. And I'm also going to grab my font. The font I'm using is De Augusta. For the boot shot glasses, I'm just going to type in my name and my husband's name just to kind of give some examples for it. Now I need to match my colors with what vinyl I'm using. For Shenanigans and Tim and Kayla, I'll be using a chrome vinyl. And for Let That Begin, I'm just using a regular green vinyl. So first I need to ungroup this. Then I'm going to go over to my color sync. It is the easiest way to do this. And I want Tim and Kayla to match the color of Shenanigans. What's really cool when Cricut changed Cricut Design Space, you can pull a whole color and bring it in together, and it just makes it so much easier. So you can see I changed both of those at the same time, and now I'm going to drag this one down here. Now I need to size these. I'm going to highlight over this whole thing. This basically groups this together without having to select the group button. For this one, I'm going to do 2 inches for the height. For my name, I'm doing 2 inches for the width. If I were to do 2 inches for Tim, it would be even bigger than this, which wouldn't fit. So what I'm going to do is copy my font size, and I am going to make that the same for Tim. And as you can see, it matches really well. I do need to attach Let The and Begin. And now I can click Make It. I'll select vinyl for the first one, and for the last one, I will select holographic vinyl. I placed my vinyl on the mat. This is StarCraft vinyl. I absolutely love this vinyl. It's permanent, and it just cuts and weeds really well. Here's the chrome vinyl that I'm using. I am obsessed with it. It is so beautiful. It's from Tech Wrap, and another really cool thing about it is bubble free, and I have noticed that it has really worked so well when I add it to any glass. I'm weeding out my vinyl now, and I'm using my pen. Somebody the other day asked if I was using a ballpoint pen, but it's just a pen that has, it's almost like a needle on the end of it, and I just use it to weed most of my vinyl. I cut out transfer paper that will fit on the full design and first add it to the Shenanigans one. I cut out transfer paper that fits with the bigger decal because I'm going to add it directly to the vinyl. And here you can see I'm using parchment paper, and that way I can move it around as much as I want. As you can see here, I can find the correct place, then I can just remove the parchment paper and place down the vinyl. And like I said, I like applying the vinyl to the decal so I don't have to place both of them on the boot separately. I clean the boot with rubbing alcohol, and then I place my vinyl onto the boot. This is a rounded surface, which can make it a little difficult to add the vinyl. And as you can see the end, it looked like it was about to get bent. So I grabbed my scissors and cut out the transfer paper, and that makes it really easy to just lay the vinyl down flat. Then I just remove my transfer paper. Now I can add my vinyl to the small boots. I just spray rubbing alcohol on those two, and I just apply my transfer paper to the vinyl. I'm using Caesar transfer paper. It is my favorite. I've talked a lot about it on my channel because I just love it. Here's how these turned out. I think these are super fun. If you see these at Target, if you're having a party, definitely pick them up. I love them. I also love the chrome vinyl. It just matched really well with this boot color. My next project, I'm adding a vinyl wrap to a beer can glass tumbler. These are really popular and a lot of people drink their iced coffee out of them. That's what I do. And since I started making these, I am basically making one for every single season because they just turn out amazing. For this one, I found this online and it's really nice because you can find SVGs that are specific for these beer can glasses, so it makes it really easy. For some reason this doesn't pull up in the center, so I'm gonna ungroup, and it keeps this still grouped together, so I'm just gonna bring this up here. I need to change some of my colors and I want them to match with what vinyl I'm using. For my clovers, I'm going to be using pattern vinyl, so I need to switch the clovers to all one color, and I think I'll keep it at that dark green. I'm going to ungroup this also. When I slide my clover over, it does have these hearts the same color, and it's only one layer. I need to separate them because I don't want these clovers and hearts to be with the same vinyl. So what I'm going to do is hit Command D on my keyboard to duplicate, and I am going to use the contour button. One of these I want it just to be clovers, and one I want just to be hearts. So my first one, I am going to select Hide All Contours, and it just keeps the clover. So now I just want to bring back all the clovers, and that means this one I need to get rid of the clovers. So I'm going to hit contour, and I am just going to get rid of the clovers. I'm doing this pretty fast because this video is long, but let me know in the comments if you have any questions. So now I'll bring this back over here. For these hearts, I'm doing a darker green color. For all the clovers, I'm doing the pattern, and Lucky, I'm doing black, but the rest of them, these light color green hearts, and for Mama, I'm doing Tech Wrap chrome vinyl. So I'm going to go over to my color sync because I think this is going to be the easiest way to do this. I want Mama to be this color here, and then I'm going to do my other mom and put it under my light green. And now for my clovers, I need that to be dark green. Okay, that's a little bit tricky, and I know I went through that pretty fast, but I have all my colors that I want, and this SVG is already sized how I need it for my beer can tumbler, so I can just click Make It. It'll separate these all on, oh, I'm glad I selected this because I did not attach Mama, so I'm gonna go back, and I need to make sure those are attached. I'm just gonna hit Shift on my keyboard, and I will select Attach. And I'll try that again. Now you can see that is all attached. My clovers are not attached. Okay, let me go back. I'm glad I'm checking these. Okay, I'm gonna grab my clovers and I am going to attach those. Now I think I should be good. So let me click Make It again, and I will double check it again. Okay, perfect. All of that looks great. I'll hit Continue. And I am going to select vinyl for my cut setting for the black one. I'll switch it to holographic vinyl for this one, and then go back to vinyl for the other ones. When making projects like these, it's fun to mix the type of vinyls. Like here, I have regular, chrome, and pattern vinyl, and it just gives it a fun, unique look. Once all my vinyl's cut out, I go through and weed out all of my vinyl. This lighter green vinyl didn't come with the bundle, but I just needed a different shade of green. The best way I found to do these wraps is have a base layer. So the mama is my base layer. Then right here, I'm adding transfer tape to one of the vinyl pieces. It doesn't matter which one comes first, the shamrocks or the hearts, but I remove the backing and then I add this transfer paper to the hearts. I'm using the parchment paper method to make sure I get this lined up. You want to make sure it's totally lined up correctly since you're layering this vinyl. But then what I do is I use the same transfer paper for each one. So now I'm going to pull all of this vinyl up onto this same transfer paper, and hopefully that's making sense. Once that's done, I use the parchment paper again to apply all of this vinyl to my base layer. Once that's done, I remove the backing and I'm ready to add this to the mug. I'll add the Lucky vinyl on later. But doing these, I actually like to have my mug upright instead of laying down. I almost feel like it's a little easier just to get it lined up, but I always start with the center first. I press that down and then I slowly go in and press down the rest of the vinyl. As I got towards the end, I accidentally pressed my vinyl against the other transfer paper. I'm not sure how I missed that, but here I'm just taking this off because it laid on the transfer paper instead of the glass. So now here I'm removing that side of the transfer paper so I can apply the rest of the vinyl. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but anyways, now I can take the other side of the transfer paper off. Then I went back in and added my clover and my heart to the glass. Then I add the Lucky vinyl to the glass. When you're doing these wraps, you kind of have to figure out which one has to go on first and what order to apply all the vinyl. Here's how it turned out. I am completely obsessed with it. I love it. I think I'll have a hard time putting this away in a couple weeks when St. Patrick's Day is over. For my next project, I'm personalizing a shirt for my son. His birthday is on St. Patrick's Day, so it's always been a special day for him and for me. He's my firstborn and he turns 9 this year. For my font, I'm using Fresh Pineapple. I thought that this looked like a fun font for St. Patrick's Day, and I am going to write Born Lucky. I thought that would be really cute for my son's birthday. There's a lot of space in here, so I'm going to go up to my line space and just bring it closer together. And I feel like this is going to take forever. I'm going to go over to Advanced and just ungroup my lines, and I'm just going to hit Shift on my keyboard because it keeps it in line, and just pull this up. Since I ungrouped them, I need to attach this back together. And for my width, I'm going to make it 7.5 inches. Normally for a boy's medium shirt, I would do 8 inches, but this shirt looks like it runs just a little bit small, and I measured with my measuring tape and felt like 7.5 would be better. This is HTV, so I'm going to mirror it, and then I will click on Continue. For my cut setting, I am going to do Everyday Iron On. I'm using Soft Flex HTV and it's gold, I believe. The color is so beautiful. I feel like it looks even prettier in person. Once the Cricut cuts it out, I just remove the vinyl, cut around the design, and weed it out. I'm using my Easy Press Mini. I probably should have used my regular Cricut heat press or a heat press, but I was just being lazy and I didn't feel like getting it out. I preheat my shirt, then fold it in half to find the center. This is basically my process anytime I make a shirt, but now you can see a line going directly down the center. I use my t-shirt ruler and place the center arrow right on that line. Then I fold my vinyl in half and just line it up. I fold it in half, not on the sticky side, but here you can see I'm running my Easy Press over the vinyl, and I just do this for 25 seconds. Then I remove the carrier sheet, and once again, this gold is just so pretty. It is just perfect for St. Patrick's Day, and I really like how it turned out. I found this scrunchie at Walmart and I thought it'd be fun to try something new and add HTV to it. I feel like it has kind of a satin feel, so that's what material I'm going off of. I'm going to select my font, and for my font I'm doing Better Together. I'm going to type in Lucky, then I'm going to grab another text and type in Mama. I measured my scrunchie and I wanted to make it about 1.25 for the height, and I'm just going to kind of size this just to match it. I'm using the same color vinyl, so I'm just going to leave it at that and I'll click Make It. I'm using HTV, so I'm going to mirror my design, then I'll hit Continue. For my cut setting, I'll select Everyday Iron On. I place my HTV shiny side down and the machine will cut out the design, and then I will weed it out. I go off of the satin setting and set it to medium on my Easy Press Mini. I picked up the scrunchie and wanted to see where it would kind of lay if it was in your hair, and I picked those two spots to add my vinyl. I line up my vinyl, then I add a Teflon sheet for this one because the material is pretty delicate, and then I run my Easy Press over it for about 15 to 20 seconds. I don't press it pretty hard either, I just kind of lightly run it over it. The vinyl stuck down to this perfectly. I do the same thing for the other one, and once I was done, I realized that I should have switched the vinyls on the other side because it says Mama Lucky instead of Lucky Mama. So, oh well, I think it turned out really great though, and I just wanted to see if it worked, and it really worked well. For my next project, I am adding HTV to a wine bag. I thought this would be a great hostess gift if somebody's hosting a St. Patrick's Day party. I'm going to grab my SVG. I'm using Let the Shenanigans Begin Again, but I'm using a different SVG. What I want to do with this one is have just a plain clover. So what I'm going to do is click on the clover in the layers panel. I'll go to contour. I'm going to select hide all contour. It automatically leaves one and it's the one that I want. I just want that clover. So that looks good, but it also has a piece under it still for some reason. So I just took that out and I'm going to delete that. For the circles, I am going to switch it to that same dark green. And for my clover, I actually am going to be doing an offset layer. I want to have the background be black and then the top of it is going to be a pattern HTV. I'm actually going to ungroup the layers panel to make this a little bit easier, and I'm going to highlight over everything so I keep it all together. I like to move this out of the way so I can see my offset better. I'm going to bring my clover to the top. It makes it easier to work with it, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller since I'm adding an offset. I like how that looks. I'll come up here and select offset, and I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. Then I'll select apply. I am going to change this green clover because I'm using the pattern HTV. I'm just going to select white. For this green, I'm using that same holographic vinyl that I used before, but I need to attach it all together. So I am just going to hit shift on my keyboard, select all the green, and then I will come down here and select attach. If I slide this over, you can see all of that is grouped together. I'm going to hit undo. I'm going to highlight over every layer so I can size this, and I'm going to make it 4.5 inches for my width. Now I can click Make It. For most HTV, you'll want to mirror it, but for this pattern HTV on 143 Vinyl's website, they say not to mirror it and you'll place it face up. But for my other two, I am going to select mirror, and I will hit continue. For all of these, I'm just using Everyday Iron On. Here's the pattern HTV, and I just think this is really fun, so I wanted to incorporate it in one of my projects. The vinyl will cut out the other sheets. Also, I would not recommend this SVG at all. It was not weeding out very well. It was difficult, and usually with HTV, it's pretty easy to weed, but the letters had these little slits and circles in them, and it was very difficult. I set my easy press to medium, but I'll switch it to low whenever I do the pattern vinyl. I preheat my wine bag, then I pull the strings on the bag because you don't want the vinyl up too high since it bends it there. So you can learn from my mistakes from the past. But now I'm just adding my vinyl on here and I run my easy press over it. Not the whole time, I just want to tack it down because I'll be running it over it again. This is a cool peel, so I wait for it to totally cool down before I remove the carrier sheet. I set down my black vinyl for my offset and I decided I just didn't really like the way it looked, so I cut out a green one instead and I run my easy press over that, and once again I just tack it down for about 10 to 15 seconds, then I'll remove the carrier sheet. For this pattern vinyl, you do have to remove it from the backing, and 143 vinyl has a mask, which is like a carrier sheet or kind of like a transfer sheet that you apply to it. I thought I would try to save on that material, but it just wasn't staying in one spot because it wasn't sticky at all. So I decided to add that mask, basically that transfer sheet that 143 vinyl provided, and then I placed it on top of the clover. I place my Teflon sheet on top and I run my easy press over it for about 20 to 25 seconds. This is a warm peel, so I can remove that mask right away, and here's how this turned out. I think it's super fun. For my last project, I found this at Hobby Lobby. I love these little jars to put candy in, and I have a little tray in my kitchen that I set these on, and it says $9.99, but I believe it was 40% off at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to grab my SVG first. Here's the SVG I'm using. I thought it looked really cute. For Happy and Day, the lighter green, I'm using the same Tech Wrap Chrome vinyl, and for St. Patrick's, I'm just using a regular green vinyl. For my size, I'm doing 2.5 inches for the height. Right now this is grouped together, but I need to attach the colors that are the same. I'm going to ungroup these, and I am just going to select the lighter green. I'll come down here and select attach, and I'll grab the dark green and I will attach that. Now I can click make it. For the first one, I'm going to select holographic vinyl since I'm using that chrome vinyl, and the second one I will just select vinyl. The Cricut will cut out the vinyl sheets, and for just the regular vinyl, the Cricut had a hard time cutting it out, so I went back and switched it to the washi sheet setting, and here is the difference. It is crazy. If you have vinyl that's cutting like this bottom one, try the washi sheet setting with low pressure, and it makes a world of difference. I weed out my designs, and when adding my transfer paper, I forgot to make it the size of the larger vinyl sheet. So as you can see here, I'm adding it to my vinyl, and I'm using my trick again with the parchment paper, but I have this tiny little vinyl sheet. I ended up making it work because there was enough on there to still pick up the Happy and Day lettering. Then I add the vinyl to my glass jar. And here's how it turned out. This design is super, super cute. And I'm trying to decide what candy to add. I might do the gold like Rolo candy or maybe some green mints. Here's one last look at all of my projects. I had so much fun creating these. Let me know if you have a favorite down in the comments. I will have all the links down below in the description box if you are wanting to recreate any of these. If you are new to my channel, I would love it if you subscribed, and I hope you guys all have a great day and a great St. Patrick's Day.